As the software developer in New York, I haven't really had as much interaction with stakeholders as I'd have liked to. And you're in a governmental organization. You know, a lot happens when you get to meet the stakeholders for the first time and get an impression of who they are and what their knowledge is and how easily they look at something that I've done and understand what it can do.
Well, the team is here in Bogotá, Colombia to meet with UNICEF Bogotá stakeholders as well as members of the Colombian government to understand more about their data usage and needs surrounding children, poverty, socioeconomic data, and risk factors.
We have recurrent meetings with our main stakeholders, but it's never the same thing through phone and that really being physically there. And then we are also trying to understand what could be the next steps. There is a lot of interest on using data and sharing data and combining it, so I think that it can be a really useful platform.
The first or biggest challenge, it's been the technology piece itself, because we decided to try to bring together developers and data scientists and use Jupyter notebooks to do that. This is a new technology for many people.
We all had to learn new tooling. The data scientists did not, they had an advantage, but Mike had to, and so did I, frankly. Around Jupyter notebooks. Mike also, now that I'm showing him what OpenShift is capable of, he's super excited. He basically says, no, I need to know this.
That's been very cool, getting up to speed on Jupyter notebooks, on OpenShift, on OpenStack. Although I've only really been using the OpenShift part, the OpenStack is, I guess, kind of abstracted out of it. We've also produced some material, some stuff that we could show to the stakeholders in Colombia.
Yeah, it's always awkward when you're sort of trying to merge two entities or two teams. I think now we know each other much better, even sort of on a personal level. So I think even communication-wise, we've become starting to sort of trust each other and communicate better.
My question is, if you could walk me through the parts that should be a function of this platform.
So the idea is we have actually lots of people reaching out to us. They want to work with us. So the first step is to actually talk with them, either meet them face to face or over Skype or a call. So the next thing is we have to give them access to Sandbox.
So what does that mean?
It's a Jupyter Notebook server, so which you can run on Azure or AWS.
So you want to give people access to data, and you also want to give people access to compute resources.
Yes.
Both. So not just the data.
So they should be able to build models.
Okay.
We're slowly moving from two separate teams into one entity.
Part of it was just getting more confidence in the Red Hat team, which sounds silly that I would doubt them, but again, I didn't know who they were. I didn't know what their backgrounds were, or what their area of expertise was, and who was a coder and who wasn't. When I was talking to Mateus, who was the app architect, I said, "Well, do you code?" And he kind of sighed and he said, "I have a master's in mathematics, I have a master's in computer science, and I've got this certification, this certification, this certification." And I'm thinking, oh, okay, he's fine.
Last week, Mike and I are sitting down. We're running into a hurdle because one of the open source tools that we're using does not provide the feature that we want. And I'm saying, look, this is not a problem. This is really an opportunity. I'm drawing a process diagram for him, saying, look, we were going to get here 2 weeks from now, but we have this issue that we really want to solve before we show this data. And he gets really excited, which was awesome.
So we just met the stakeholders of the project, so the guys who will sort of take over once this project is finished. They will sort of take it over and implement it in the country or just use this tool. They're seeing this tool and then have new ideas. How do we implement this? Can we maybe add something else? What about adding a new layer? How do you actually add this layer? That's a really good question. And there sort of the research community comes into play.
We have initially two separate targets. One is Project Connect school mapping work, and the other one is more the research sandbox. And little by little, when you talk to the different stakeholders, we are realizing that what we are doing is more powerful if we put everything together and try to merge both of the initiatives, the school mapping and the sandbox.
My impression so far is that we've succeeded, at least with the country office. The next few weeks we'll switch up, and now it'll be much more about, okay, let's get a good workflow and infrastructure in place, which wasn't my priority initially for these 2 weeks. Yeah.
So now that we're going back to New York, things we have to sort of work mostly on is how do we secure the sandbox? How do we sort of make sure that the data isn't leaked or it's secure or nobody misuses it? And also the thing is, how do we actually do the engagement? How do we actually contact these researchers and tell them that there's a sandbox they should use?
I think the fact that we're working for something that has got the opportunity to do so much good in the world. We've been very specific around doing work for Colombia, but I think once we start looking at maps and we start zooming out off of Colombia, you can see how the kind of work we're doing can have a long-term impact on many countries across the world.